KSI versus Logan Paul, the rematch, November the 9th at the Staples Center. Let's get into it. So both KSI and Logan Paul, they are what you'd call social media millionaire entrepreneurs. They've got big followings on Instagram, YouTube. I'm talking in the millions, not thousands, not 1 million, millions. We're talking like 5+ million, maybe up to like 17 million. So the way this comes about is my daughter on a Saturday night says, "Dad, can we go to the KSI versus Logan Paul fight?" So she knows who they are. She's only 13. My response is, "We can't go, but I can buy the pay-per-view fight." She's like, "Yeah, cool, that'll do." Then we both watch, under her instructions, we both go and watch the first fight, which was a draw, a 6-round fight. It's under amateur rules. Pretty entertaining. The rematch is a professional fight, so they're no longer being amateurs. They're taking off headgear. They've got one of the best promoters, Eddie Hearn, in boxing behind it. It's going to be pay-per-view again on Sky Sports and DAZN outside of the UK. And also they're having professional boxers on the undercard. So professional boxers who are better than them, who have paid their dues, who have been in the sport since probably like 5, 6, 7-year-old, having amateur bouts, winning amateur tournaments and whatnot. So the talk is it right for these two entrepreneurs, Logan Paul and KSI, who have massive followings, to have a boxing fight and have pro fighters who are respected in the game, who have been champions or probably going to be champions on the undercard, serving them? And the initial answer would be no, it's a disrespect. But when we look into it, it's not always what it seems. So let's talk about the boxers who are boxing in this fight first. So Devin Haney and Billy Joe Saunders. So if I say those names to my daughter or your daughter or your son, they may not know who they are because they're not big. They're big in boxing, or they're big in the hardcore boxing community, but amongst casual fans, you may know them. Amongst people who aren't boxing fans, you probably never heard of them. Who are they? And with boxers like these guys, they've got maybe 3,000 Instagram followers, maybe 6,000 YouTube subscribers, compared to the millions that KSI and Logan Paul have. So looking at it from a business sense and looking at it from the perspective of you start boxing at the age of 6, 7, or 8, you might turn pro around 22. If you do or don't make the Olympics, you might not get your first big fight until you're 27, and then your career's probably done by 31. You're going to want legacy, defining fights, but also you're going to want to get paid, because when you finish boxing, you're more than most boxers don't have qualifications to go into becoming a lawyer, a teacher, a doctor. When they finish boxing and start from scratch, so they're going to want to have money in the bank so they can, live a good life, reinvest that, and put something down for their children, right? So if you're looking at the business side of boxing, this is a very good idea, because what you're doing now is you're marketing yourself to a whole new audience. Now, there's not many boxers in boxing that are massively big. So the ones that are, off the top of my head, that are massively big right now that maybe everyone might know is Anthony Joshua, and maybe if you're from America or Mexico, Canelo Alvarez. They're the two biggest stars in boxing in regards to pay-per-view numbers and attracting massive salaries. Before that, Floyd Mayweather, very big. But in boxing, that's very extreme. So Mayweather, AJ, Canelo, they can command and Manny Pacquiao, they can command 20 to 40 million per fight. Yeah? But most boxers can't command that sort of money. Most boxers might be getting a couple of grand, maybe 10 grand, maybe less than that. They might be out selling tickets themselves while they're training. Yeah? They might be retired now, and you might know them, and they might be asking you to borrow money. Do you know what I'm saying? Most boxers don't get paid. And if you're a fan of these boxers, you want to get paid. And if you're related to, or if you are that boxer, you're going to want to get paid too, right? So it would make sense, okay, let's go back. Let's look at Floyd Mayweather Jr. As a boxer, he marketed himself very well. And to me, his marketing strategy was, I'm going to let you guys know I'm the best ever. I'm going to trash my opponent to the fact that everyone hates me, so you're coming to see me lose. You're not going to see me lose. And in the build-up to my fights and after my fights, I'm going to talk about money, 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 money. My name is Floyd Money Mayweather, and I'm going to hang out 50 Cent, so I can get all of the hip hop community behind me. And then when I walk into my fights, I'm gonna have Lil Wayne next to me, so I can be more exposed to the hip hop community, and Justin Bieber on this side, so I can be exposed to over teeny bops, teenagers, whatever, so I can cross pollinate. And that was a great marketing strategy for him, and it worked. And he's the highest paid boxer ever, possibly the highest paid athlete ever, alongside Michael Jordan. But that's Mayweather. Other guys aren't doing stuff. I'm not saying you've got to be him, but they're not doing marketing strategies like that. Well, if you look at KSI and Logan Paul, they're always uploading content onto like YouTube, Instagram, short comedy skits, music songs, they're gaming, they're commenting on their games, and they're in tune with the young audience. So with boxing, you have hardcore fans who are into you, and you may have casual sports fans who may know about you, may be into you. But if you want to get paid, you need to have more popularity. You need to have, in this day and time, more Instagram followers, more YouTube followers. So when you do have a fight, people know about it, everyone buys into you. So my logic is that if you're on the undercard of these two guys, yeah, you can now cross-pollinate into the audience, providing that you have a good performance and providing that, you're willing to learn just maybe 2 to 3 things that they're doing that KSI and Logan Paul are doing marketing-wise, so you can maintain a bit of the audience and grow. So I think this is a wicked opportunity for these two fighters. We don't know who they're fighting yet, but let's just quickly go through some of their comments of what they feel about fighting on the undercard of KSI and Logan Paul, two guys who are not boxers. So Billy Joe Saunders, so for those who don't know, Billy Joe Saunders, UK boxer, he was a champion. He lost his belt recently due to some sort of like drug scandal. He put some nasal spray in his mouth during a training camp, and that was classed as a prohibited substance to go in his body. So he's just sort of like clawing back. But he's undefeated. He's a very good boxer, but once again, not big. Probably famous for beating Chris Eubank Jr. and David Lemieux. And also on the undercard we have Devin Haney, only 20 years old, US prospect. Big things for him, I think, and he's wise enough and young enough to know that this is a good move. But let's check out the comments. So Billy Joe Saunders, he said that KSI and Logan Paul were not the best fighters technically, but they deserve to be in the position that they're in, and that they're clever businessmen, and the audience buy into them. So I'm not going to give you their exact words, just roughly what they're saying. It's hard for me, so Billy Joe referring to himself, it's hard for me to be a main event in America as I'm not known. So that makes common sense, doesn't it? If he goes to America and he's on a card, America aren't going to buy to go and see him. They don't know who he is. Do you know what I mean? And he's not a knockout puncher. He's not a knockout puncher either. So what he's saying is, if I can bring some of the audience to my side by having a good performance, I can possibly get thousands of more supporters. And financially, it's a good bill to be on. So that's going to be on the DAZN app outside of the UK. And as we know, DAZN have a lot of money. So that means that Billy Joe Saunders is going to get paid a lot more for this fight, just for being on the undercard. Never mind him having to market himself. Yeah? Devin Haney. What's Devin Haney saying? So, once again, Devin Haney, only 20 years old. So he probably understands this new generation of what the youngsters consume. He understands it more than I do, because I'm 41. You know what I'm saying? What do I know? So Devin Haney says, this card is good for boxing. It brings a whole new crowd to boxing and to Devin Haney. So he wants some of this new audience. KSI and Logan of a new generation. I'm young myself, so I feel I can get a lot of new fans by doing this card. Then he goes on to say, we can't always be stuck in the past. We've got to be able to elevate and bring on new things. So, business is changing with social media, and we have to be aware of, like, you got Instagram, you got Snapchat, you got WhatsApp status, you got Facebook. Logan Paul gets paid, I'm going to say roughly around 20 grand for each Facebook post that he does. So imagine a boxer is able to market himself through social media and bring in other revenue for himself. Do you know what I mean? And imagine that he says, right, I'm fighting here, and he can just sell tickets through one Facebook post. Do you know what I mean? Rather than having to, stand outside Sainsbury's in the rain and say, yeah, meet me here, this time here's the tickets. Eddie Hearn. So Eddie Hearn, if you don't know Eddie Hearn, he's the biggest promoter in UK boxing alongside Frank Warren, and he's one of the biggest boxing promoters in the world as well. So Eddie Hearn said that at the press conference for the Logan Paul KSI rematch, it was watched live by 700,000 people. And he said that 10 million people have watched it since. So that's big numbers already. As he said that for him to be involved in this rematch, he wanted to make sure they were turning pro and not wearing head guards, so they're sort of respecting the code of the sport. So he's trying to keep it as authentic as possible, even though they're not they will be fighting as pro, but they're not pros prior to this. Also, what's he saying? This will be the most watched fight of the year. So I don't know about that, but according to my research, their last fight sold 800,000 pay-per-view. Yeah? Let's put it in context. So their first ever boxing fight sold 800,000 pay-per-view. Yeah? Anthony Joshua, when he fights, he sells around 1.5 million. That's more than that. Yeah? But most boxers aren't on pay-per-view. And I think let's say the David Hay Bellew rematch last year did about 600,000 pay-per-view without me doing thorough research around that. So they're selling more than the most top championship boxers are getting pay-per-view wise. Yeah. So Eddie Hearn saying that we must showcase great boxing to this new audience so we can attract millions of new fans to the sport so we can keep them. He also said if we can keep 1% of these fans, it's great for boxing. And he said it's total madness. Let's grow the sport and show them some greatness with Devin and Billy. So Eddie's looking at this like, I'm looking to grow my boxing promotional banner, and I'm looking to increase the value and the audience of these boxers that are under my banner. And before Anthony Joshua had won the Olympics and turned pro and became a champion, boxing wasn't that big in the UK. There wasn't many pay-per-view events in the UK. Do you know what I mean? Now, if Anthony Joshua loses his next fight, and if Canelo loses the next fight, that's possible, whatever, loads of casual fans will leave the sport. So you want to be doing things like this to get the young audience, the 14, 15-year-olds into boxing, and to follow a young boxer like Devin Haney, who's 20, for the next 7-8 years. I think is good. But what do you think? This is MSLB, Mark Sternler's Boxing. You can hear the passion. I'm here, baby. All right, have a good day. Bless.